What do you do when you want to go work out, be active, or you want to gain or lose healthy weight? I'm sure you can think of a gym near you that offers the necessary equipment that you would need, or you could easily go on a walk. Unfortunately, this is not the case for many people with disabilities. Workout facilities often lack either the necessary accessibility, equipment, programs, or knowledgeable staff to successfully train someone with a disability. There is a wide range of physical and mental disabilities in which physical activity could benefit the side effects, yet the number of training that is available is a small fraction of that. Today I'm going to discuss the need for fully accessible gyms for people with disabilities by explaining how physical activity can benefit certain disabilities, by describing the many problems in this field, and by showing how such accessible facilities could also be beneficial to others by creating more jobs. I hope that by the end of this speech you will agree that gyms accessible to people with disabilities are a serious necessity and would be highly beneficial. First, I'm going to start off by explaining the many benefits, both mental and physical, that activity can have on a person with disabilities. Almost anyone can agree that physical activity lifts the mood, promotes general well-being, and can help improve one's energy and self-esteem. Simply being active can help alleviate certain symptoms. Cerebral palsy, for example, causes permanent movement disability and is often characterized by reduced muscle strength and endurance and a tightening of muscles that reduces movement. In a study on the benefits of physical activity on children with cerebral palsy, it was found that by strengthening the weaker muscles opposite of the muscle groups that are tightened, that functionality of that child can be greatly improved. Multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease that involves the damaging of nerves and can result in a number of symptoms. A common symptom is a lack of balance and coordination in the affected areas resulted from diminished use of those limbs. In an article, The Ups and Downs of Multiple Sclerosis, it is said that physical training can improve endurance and strength in the muscles of these limbs. It was also said in the same article that depression affects 25% of those living with MS. This is also a common theme among people living with all kinds of disabilities, in which physical activity can also help. At Ability Beyond Disability, a facility that trains the disabled for the workforce, reported psychological gains include an improvement in mood state with a reduction of anxiety and depression, and increased self-esteem and feelings of greater self-efficiency. Perceived health is also improved, and on a more long-term perspective, there is a reduced risk of chronic disease. I'm sure that you can easily see the benefits of physical activity on disabilities. Unfortunately, there's a lack of accessible facilities to offer such training. Imagine being in a wheelchair, the equipment right in front of you, but not being able to reach it. Although there are requirements of gyms to provide wheelchair accessible parking lots and on-ramps to get into the gym, this is often the easiest part. Robert Bennett, in an article for American Fitness, said, "A lot of times navigating a chair in a fitness center or a gym is difficult. We try to place as much equipment to service as many clients as possible so no one has to wait. Unfortunately, this is a double-edged sword. It means that navigating around the club is often very difficult." Now imagine having multiple sclerosis, wanting to know the exercises that could help the affected areas by the disease. This is exactly what happened to my mother, who is living with MS. She experienced a relapse in which her left leg became numb, and it affected her balance. At her local gym, though, she lacked the resources to find out what exercises could help her. Unknowledgeable staff at training facilities is a major problem contributing to a lack of quality training for people with disabilities. James Rimmer, the director of the National Center on Physical Activity and Disability at the University of Illinois Chicago, stated, "Few gyms sponsor such comprehensive programs, although a number of facilities say they accommodate disabled individuals." He went on to say that a survey of 4,000 clubs nationwide by the Boston International Health and Clubs Association found that only 6% of these have specific programs for people with disabilities. This is a devastating statistic when physical activity can greatly improve all aspects of life of people living with disabilities. Not only can accessible gyms to people with disabilities help the actual person living with a disability, but it can also help the community. James Rimmer, director of the National Center on Physical Activity and Disability at the University of Illinois Chicago, stated, "People with disabilities who can't exercise risk chronic health problems such as obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, pressure, ulcers, heart disease, and depression. A fitness membership usually runs around $300 to $500 a year, while treatment for one pressure ulcer, an injury caused by inactivity, can cost up to $50,000. This greatly benefits the families of those living with a disability by alleviating stress of money. Also, accessible gyms to those with disabilities could create new jobs. This could be an environment in which PTAs and physical therapists themselves could be hired as staff to help train these individuals and lead more efficient lives. In conclusion, I've illustrated that there is a high need for gyms that are accessible for people with disabilities. I've also illustrated many of the problems of the field and shown how gyms accessible to those with disabilities could be beneficial to the community. I think we can all agree with the words of Peter Giacobbe, the junior assistant professor of sport and exercise psychology at UF, saying, "I think I would put exercise as a prevention and treatment method for many forms of mental and physical illness up against pharmaceutical agents." Thank you.